Today on Metaphysical Mississippi, we have Antoinette Wade, Shari, Crook, Turnage, Benjamin Tripp, and of course your host, Emily Hester. And we'll be talking about hypnosis and some of the benefits as receiver and also as being a practitioner. So stick around. Hey guys.
Hi.
So excited to have y'all on the podcast today. And I have had the pleasure of getting some sort of hypnosis from each of you in different forms. And so I hope to share just a little bit about that.
Oh, yeah.
I know most of you have been on the podcast before, but then this is your first time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you might be in the hot seat a little bit to share your journey. To share your metaphysical journey.
Just want to say I've never been on live TV before.
Yeah.
No.
I've only been on it once, and it was a parade, so you know.
Okay.
I was on the nightly news, but
Oh.
Shari got one on us. Oh.
It wasn't intentional.
It wasn't a mugshot, was it?
Not this time.
No.
That's another story.
Not this time.
Next
Next
podcast.
time.
Yeah. Next
Volume
time.
2.
But you guys have been participating in a class for learning hypnosis, and Shari is your teacher.
Yes.
Mhm.
And Shari, do you want to share just a little bit about the class that you have been facilitating?
Yes. My students, it was the first class I had done. I was certified earlier this year to teach as a master trainer. It turned out just perfect having the two of them. They were already friends, and we were able to work here locally. And we used the classroom once.
Mm-hmm.
Then we used my office the rest of the time. So it was very personal. Anyway, we've learned an awful lot. I learned a lot. It was a brand new
Format.
It was a new format, but it was also the new manual and no instructions. Actually, I could create it any way I wanted, but it was my first class. I didn't know exactly what I wanted, but we've done it, and they've done such a great job. And they keep me on my toes. The unexpected daily. We have, they're doing 110 hours of self-study, and we had 110 hours of classroom time together. So we're done with the classroom time. They're finishing up their private study. And they open up doors I've not seen before, which is cool because hypnosis, though, it's magical. You can use it for any kind of, and it can help so many people.
Yeah. I really feel like I could study for 10, 15, keep forever learning more and more.
Yes.
Right now it's just foundation, but there's so many subjects. It goes so broad.
Yeah.
I sort of came up with the analogy. I felt like I had jumped into the ocean with two other friends, and one of them has a boat and a radio, which she had the boat and the radio. So, because it's just vast. It's vast, all the levels of what is hypnosis, what might be hypnosis, and what isn't hypnosis, but works like hypnosis. So,
Yeah.
There's a lot of that.
It is. And it is, like Antoinette said, I have learned a lot. And there was some stuff in that manual. It was a contribution from about 26 hypnotherapists that put the manual together that have many, many years, decades of experience. So there was many things I'd never heard of. And so we're learning together. But it's been a great class. It was the very first one. And in 2024, I'm going to do at least 2 more. So we'll see how that goes. But we did it with these 2 first. And they've been great students. They're going to be great hypnotherapists. I'm so excited. They're very different, but they're different people.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been doing practice sessions, and we're getting great feedback from you.
Yes, I had a practice session, and I didn't quack like a duck. Everybody.
I didn't promise you. We weren't going to go there.
And I actually
didn't use the pen.
Yeah, I was going to say,
briefly,
did use a pendulum.
but not in a
Just
Hollywood way.
You're
either.
getting sleepy. I just sat in the chair and I was instantly no, it was a very relaxing experience for me, guys.
Cool.
And it has been transformative. And I'm not
Nice.
sure how much I will share here.
Yeah.
Well, Ben, why don't you just share a little bit about your metaphysical journey, and then we will talk about what brought you into wanting to learn hypnosis, and then Antoinette, you'll share
Okay.
stuff.
Okay, sounds good. So, even when I was growing up and a kid, I remember watching like Close Encounters of the Third Kind and Mysteries of the Unexplained. I think it was hosted by Leonard Nimoy and all that with my dad. And my dad used to be always like, "Oh, I'd love to see UFO someday. I'd love to." And as he got older, he became less interested, but I became more interested. So, but it started off as a kid, on and off a little bit, and about 10, 12 years ago or so, 10 years ago, I had gotten like a divorce and was just going through so much. And then had come to the conclusion what I was doing ain't working no more. It never really did. So I just figured I started a self-help journey. And then I sort of fell into Reiki first. And my teacher was like, yeah, once you start that pebble, it could easily start an avalanche. And it did, more or less. So, and then a few years after Reiki, I moved into working with, found out that one of my band director from college, Tracy Crosby, was, I accidentally found out that she was teaching shamanic classes and all that. So I worked with her and did some apprentice work with her and still work with her on and off. But I also continued with Beth Herzig doing the meditations and so many people I've worked with as far as mindfulness, and we've got so many great yoga teachers around, and had a lot of friends related with that. But ultimately, the goal was to learn habits and thought patterns that were more functional, and eventually could be able to help other people in the process, because that's just part of the journey, I think.
Did you come from a religious background at all?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I was raised pretty raised Methodist, pretty conservative, Jesus freak.
Yes.
Some folks will get that.
So your family though, were they cool with? Were they pretty open minded?
I kept it from them for the most part. I've just done a lot of this stuff on my own, and they knew I was doing meditation and occasional drumming, and I would get the occasional mockery of, "Oh, we're gonna be drumming," and then pretending to be Indians and drumming. But actually, as I went along, I learned a bit more, and so I suppose, of course, some of my kids were exposed to it. It turns out it's helped them with depression and anxiety, and they sort of followed my lead as far as some of the self-help, and I was able to help them through junior high. Oh my God. It's a rough time of these. I think it's more stressful these days than it used to be. So, but even as far as suicidal thoughts, I mean, and self harm and just so much pain and anxiety, they didn't know how to handle it. And I had already been there and learned some stuff. I was always looking for new and updated things. So, because I had dealt with depression and anxiety for so long, 30 plus or more years, So here we are.
No, I was just thinking that these practices would be great in starting in middle school. Mm-hmm. Well, probably grade school too, just with all the children that have, I don't know,
ADHD,
yeah.
Right.
I haven't worked with any really young children, but I've worked with young athletes. So cheerleaders, runners, swimmer.
Oh, you do?
Uh-huh.
You do?
They get anxiety and have issues. I had a little girl at had broken her arm in a car wreck, but she was a stellar gymnast and cheerleader. And they do those, the pyramid, and they're stacked so high. She had this like fear that, she could be the cause of hurting her teammates. And so she just, after recovering from the broken arm, she couldn't get her confidence back. She was afraid it might not, hang in there and she could hurt her team. And they're very competitive. But anyway, worked with her on several sessions, and they went off and they did their, I'm not sure how it worked, but I know they were national champions. Whatever they went to, they won. So she got over her. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just thinking that with that example, it kind of takes the woo-woo out of it.
Yeah, it does.
And that hypnosis does not have to be like, ooh, scary,
Right.
I'm sure
No,
that
it
they're
enhances all kind of stuff. When I was saying all the sports, I helped a wild bull rider for like real. He had the best weekend of his whole. He did 2 or 3 sessions with me, and I don't understand how that's all set up either. But it's like 15 competitions in a weekend, and he won 3 of the 15. And he called me to tell me, and I congratulated him, and that's really great. And he goes, I don't think I didn't must not have sounded excited enough. And he said, I don't think you understand. There's 200 cowboys here. I won 3 of those competitions. He'd never won more than 1. So, and he was older than a lot of the younger guys.
so in Antoinette, we will get to your story in just a moment. But I feel like hypnosis helps calm the chatter that's in there. That self-doubt, that I'm going to repeat same mistakes, And
Yep. It does.
Absolutely. And there's neuroscience behind it to back it up too. Scientific proof about neuroplasticity and how you can reprogram habits and patterns and feelings that you get into habitually.
Well, with the session we did, you did give me a recording. Of course, I listened to it, but I'm also thinking, I know plenty of people who need to hear this as well. And I'm like,
Right.
can I plug it into the headphones? But no, that's but
You want to help other people when they have to look for it themselves sometimes.
Correct.
too.
Right.
but it was very encouraging. It's the y'all call it affirmations
Mhm.
and
And intentions.
and
Yeah.
intentions.
And suggestions.
And I know when we were setting up for my sessions that I made the joke of, oh, I'm perfect. I don't have anything to, but y'all, but it really, you asking, it helped me articulate what those little grooves that I have set in my patterns or my thought patterns. It is being regrouped now. So
That's cool to hear.
yes, it is. So Antoinette, what brought you into our your interest?
I'm not sure, honestly. I started Reiki like then, and it was one of those things that opened the door. Once I experienced the energy, I was like, it's real. You can't go back from that. So then it was, the energy led me to chakras and balancing, and I was like, okay, so that's real. Then I went down to psychic mediumship, and then Shari said she was doing the classes, and I was like, okay, that's the next thing. And Ben we had a conversation that also confirmed for me this is part of my path. But now, listening to their stories, I realize I can see things further back in my history where it was suggested kind of along the way that this would be part of that. My son had suicidal thoughts, and I didn't even know he was having them. So he wrote a note at school that got picked up by somebody and traced back to him. And it led him down a path. And I knew then, I was like, if I'm looking at a person who's healthy seemingly or happy on the exterior, but knowing that he had those kind of thoughts in his mind, how can I help him? And that put me on a trajectory of self-healing. And then in my own journey, working on my own self, working on those thoughts of not good enough or unworthiness, all led me down the path of being in service today.
And you know, I also think of when you're healing yourself, we're setting that example, which you've kind of just alluded to that already. You've already said that. But the way I've reacted to things, am I teaching them to react the same way?
Right.
And I know where I am now. I don't want him to repeat my mistakes.
Right.
In my own son's life as well.
Yeah. I know I'm a different mother now because of my self-healing journey than I even was then. And I know my kids don't actually believe in a lot of the things I believe in. That's okay. But just taking hypnosis and giving somebody the ability to choose differently is a powerful tool.
I think it lessens that responsibility of control too. I don't have to have everything. I'm not in control of everything
Right.
too. So kind of, you're able to offer them up in the world and know that I don't have to fix everything for them.
Right. Right.
They can do it themselves.
Yeah.
Because we did it ourselves.
Right. We did. I tell my kids all the time, there's no manual for this shit. For life or for parenting. It's just based on our experiences as we grow. There's no way I could be the same. I had my daughter when I was 19. I don't know if y'all know. So there's no way that I would even be considered the same parent today as I was that long time ago at that age. And that's okay. But now I have tools that can help them, and where they're at now, where they need. And it's beautiful. It's part of beautiful being a parent, being a practitioner in service to other people, and really just being with other people as they're going through their own self-healing journeys. We all choose it, and we keep choosing it again and again as we go and progress in our life journey. And so knowing that you're not alone and you have somebody there with you is beautiful.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. Guys, I want to know what are some techniques that each of you have intuitively discovered to help, to cater to your client as a practitioner to, help lead a session. Have you pulled in? I know you're all getting training, but have you pulled in, what intuitive? Like you've mentioned, you're Reiki as well.
I am.
You're all Reiki.
Yeah.
But what flavor
You
have you brought to it?
I could say that whenever I'm creating a session, I do tune in intuitively. So I'm already working with this person. They've already consented to working with me. And so I hear them. And when I hear them, I see what comes up for me too, intuitively. And sometimes as a person is articulating a story, then I might get a word. Like, I know I had one person I worked on, and sovereignty was a big thing for them.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, wow, as you're telling me about all the issues, I'm hearing that you also need help in this area. Is that okay? And they're like, yeah, that's the word. That's the thing I needed, like that. So it helps. I had one practice session I was doing where the person was fine in going into hypnosis, but they had a dog too. And the dog was just running around worried about the client.
Oh, yes.
So even though this person was going into hypnosis great, the dog was like, what's happening with my owner? And so I just Reiki the dog during the session. So I'm like, I'm doing the session with the person and I'm Reikiing their dog, and the dog calmed down, and it all worked great.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So that was just a good way to mix modalities. I like that.
There you go.
Anybody else?
Well, no, I would just say I use Reiki too sometimes, and when it's just if a lot of the clients are very nervous, they've never been hypnotized before, they don't know what that means, and really it's deep, focused attention, like hyper focused, to the point where nothing else matters except where you are right then, and it's not some magical something. It's anyway, so it's that deep focus, but they're nervous. I think you're going to make them quack like a duck or worse. And so using Reiki helps them to be calm. So I do use that as a just for calming purposes and calming me. And we start with breathing anyway, and that usually helps people to become relaxed. And they don't understand. So, and I always ask most of my clients this: if you've ever driven home from work or somewhere, a long day, and you get home, you turn off the car, you're getting ready to get out of the car, and you don't remember the drive home exactly. Well, how did you get there? Your subconscious was on autopilot. That's what we do in our life every day. And we program in stuff that's the wrong stuff. So we zero in on that and change the program. Simplify it there.
Well, I was going to say, well, Shari, you were my first. You popped my chair.
I know, mine too.
Past life regression, small group session. So, of course, your voice just instantly puts me in a relaxed state,
Right.
you know. And of course, I did have a session with you, Antoinette. And what we discovered is you noticed that there were certain techniques that you used and that I was fidgeting and that you had to help me do more of a visualization to calm down and relax.
Yeah.
And that was helpful.
Yeah.
And then I had a session with you. And what I found, though, with you is you were guiding me because through the visualization. But for some reason, I was a little rebellious. And when you would say, go here, I went somewhere else. And I don't know why why I was doing that. But
you were rebellious to Antoinette,
Yeah, you were.
and then you just followed along.
Yeah.
I followed, I followed along, but I still was a little rebellious because I didn't quite go.
Right. And that's what I discovered in your session. Because even though you said, oh, you just go there. And I was like, oh, this is great. She's just going to go there. But when we got there and we're doing the session, you didn't really just go there. I had to really get you there. And then I did a Shari, is what I call it. I just flipped to another one. I was like, okay, we'll try this. And that didn't work. And I was like, flip to another one, you know. And then we just kept going. And then once you got there, though, you were just so calm.
Well, I mean, I think I finally got there with you, too.
Yeah. But I would be interested in why you are rebellious and why you have that resistance. And remember, resistance was a big thing, if you don't mind sharing in your session. You know, so that resistance could also be something that you could just focus on that.
Yeah.
Even when you know consciously it's a good thing for you to do, there's still a resistance there. And that's a subconscious patterning that you could work on.
Maybe it's, you know.
Yeah. She's still doing the job.
Yeah, no, but maybe it is that, you know.
And
I'm
we all
going to be
have
struck
that.
down by lightning.
It's not a bad thing.
It's
It's only a bad thing if you want to fix it. You know, it could be a great thing. Like, you know, Shari's a little rebel here. You know, I was called Shari. Yeah. And some of us, that's a superpower, being that rebel. But you also want to have that awareness that when you give yourself permission to go there in session, it's okay now, and I'm doing it for my highest good and benefit. And I can remove the resistance and really do it here.
Yes. Yeah, no, because I mean, because I do want to participate.
Right. But
so
I love that you noticed it about yourself, though.
Is it my subconscious being the rebellion? The rebellion?
There's something that's triggering
that.
Ego? There's something that's triggering it.
It's ego. It's conscious you. Not really ready, because when you finally go there, you leave conscious you.
Yeah.
Parked aside. Maybe you should just use like Robert Monroe's thing. Put it in a box.
Put it in a box.
Right.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
can.
Put
She
it in a
can.
box.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it was it. But it's almost like you have to get that out of the way. You have to trick her. She's one of the type you have to trick them. You know, you really have to keep going and being persistent, because that part of her doesn't want to lose control a little bit.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Finally, she just gives up because you're
Yeah.
relentless anyway.
Yeah.
She's not.
Yeah, you do the Shari.
Yeah.
Shari just keeps going 8 times, 10 times, however times we gotta go. We're gonna get there.
Yeah.
And then even when you say I can't, she'll say, "Well, even if you could, what would you do?"
That's true.
It's that voice thing, though, and just as much. My teacher that taught me hypnotherapy also is part of the Newton Institute and was teaching us there.
Yeah.
By then, I had hundreds of hours worth of training with this man in several things, And as soon as he would talk when we were doing it online, I'm like tuning in, and I have a hard time listening to him.
Yeah. We did too. Our first day of training with Shari, I think me and Ben were about to fall off the chair because we were going into trance in the class.
Oh, yeah.
And she was like, okay, we're going to do a meditation of focus. And then she did. And that's what helped us finish the first day.
Yeah, it was
Very helpful.
easier
It was.
for me to go there this
The second time.
second past life
Yeah.
regression.
Because you knew what to expect. Too.
Yeah.
I mean, you knew that there was nothing to fear, and that it
Yes.
was
Right.
transformative, and you may as well go for the ride. You're here.
Right.
Yes. Well, what have you intuitively picked up with just?
Usually, when I'm doing an interview,
Mhm.
as I'm listening to the description, I can get sort of an idea of what visualization or affirmations I want to include in it as we're going, and I'll just make note of that. So if a client is very specific on something negative, then I'll say, okay, so what's the opposite of that? And because usually that's what the case is and sometimes they hadn't thought about it because they've been in that mindset for so long. They didn't even occur to them that, oh, I could change my perspective on that. So, but with me and with that, it's really I guess so far just been listening intently and seeing what comes up as a counter to whatever they're trying to change. And
You're
then
really
they
good
usually
at that.
confirm with them. It's pretty funny when you repeat back to them, like, well, so what I'm hearing is this, and this is what you would like to change it to. And then most of the time they're like, that's spot on, So that's always good.
I think what I enjoyed the most, and as a caregiver, well, just being a mother and devoting most of my time on others, that I enjoy just having that hour to just have somebody tell me nice things about myself. It was wonderful,
Yeah.
And I have a recording of it.
Yeah. That's
It was like a gift to myself,
Yeah.
even though it took me a little while to get to that point.
Yeah. Krista always says, even if I just have a nap, it's a good nap. Yes.
Yes.
I love
Right.
that about her
That's
perspective.
true.
Yeah.
And even
It's a good nap.
So it's not quite that I was going to say, well, it's therapy, but you're not a shrink,
No.
which I enjoy just laying there, and the only thing I have to do is just listen
Mhm.
and sleep. It's awesome.
Right.
And then I walk out.
Feeling good.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And how do you feel from your sessions?
Have
you noticed a change?
I have had a lot of dreams.
Yeah.
And I have made some changes. I've drawn boundaries in my dreams.
Mm.
And I'm slowly drawing them. I mean, verbalizing them, with people with whom that, boundary needs to be set.
Yeah.
But I also am learning that I have to kind of give them some grace too, because not everybody can be, as far along on the journey as I am.
Right. Perfect as
You know.
Emily.
Yeah, for me, it's voicing and continually to voice how I want my life to go.
And that was part of your sessions, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it wasn't like hypnotherapy waves the magic wand and boom, you're changed,
Right.
you're done. But I think the sessions probably helped you get to that place where you could, without the shame or guilt or without those feelings that would have otherwise held you back or talked you out of it. Now you have the courage to do it. That's beautiful.
Yes.
Awesome.
Thank
I love
y'all.
that. I love that. What about what was your experience like? What do you remember after your sessions, or what feelings or sensations did you have? Now we're questioning you.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, it probably depends on the time of day that you're actually doing the
Yeah,
session
yeah.
because it was a Friday evening with you.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I
yeah.
just got off work. So I was very tired. And so I woke up kind of like, oh, that was a nice nap. But I believe I shared that I had dreams.
Yeah.
And in that dream, well, mine was sovereignty. And, I dealt with some things about standing in my sovereignty, possessing my sovereignty, in that dream.
I love that.
And, taking possession of it. So that is where I am in my journey right now, is taking possession of all these things. That is there for everybody,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Do you ever find yourself since since you did the hypnosis, that some of the things that you wanted to do, that as you're just going through your normal work day or a day that's at home, are you now just automatically, you just make a different decision than you normally would have? Instead of doing something a certain way, you maybe set it up different, or begin that boundary setting.
I think so. I think I am.
That's how it comes in little bits. Not
Yes,
like it's not
subtle.
like day and night, up and
Very
down,
subtle.
right? Yeah, it just blends in, and then you make the changes one at a time, right?
Well,
Oh, yeah.
it's usually I hold my tongue, about things. But now I give it right back.
I love that.
Get
And
it.
you're calling meetings, aren't you? You're like, this is a
Yeah.
household meeting. We got to talk about some things.
Yes, I have. Yeah, I've had many
Yeah.
household meetings.
Yeah. And I love that. Just thinking about, and I was thinking about this on the way here. I'm going to do some more practice sessions with some family members, but it's not like a night and day difference, like Shari said. But I love how you can just look back and think, well, where has it blended in? And it was so subtly, it was so easy and effortless. You didn't even think about it. It wasn't even a thought. It was just, a change that was made.
Mhm.
And then you can't almost directly tie it to those things until you sit down and take the time to think about how the change is made. And so that's a beautiful thing, I
Yes.
think.
And I've been on this journey of taking possession
Yeah.
for over a year now.
Yeah.
So this is just helping give me voice, the
Yeah.
affirmations
Yeah.
that you help to re-record
Yeah.
what plays in my head.
Yeah.
And I think the release of fear is the most important thing.
Yeah.
With and hypnosis probably does help. Let's not.
It does.
Oh, if I do speak up, what's the consequence? I'm not worrying as much about what the
Right.
consequence is.
Yeah. Beautiful.
And am I going to hurt their feelings?
All right.
Because obviously sometimes they don't care if they hurt my feelings.
Right.
Right.
That's true.
Yeah.
So
And everybody deserves to have their truth heard, like we all do. Even if their truth is different from mine, I can still hear you out, and I can still honor that that's your truth, even if it's different from
Yes.
mine. So I'm happy for you.
thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's helped out all of us. That's why
Yeah.
we're
Right.
sitting here.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It changes the way I respond and react, or respond instead of react to different things. And I can see it from a completely different perspective. So we are always constantly working on ourselves as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
As we learn self-hypnosis.
Yeah.
That's right.
And Shari has blended into hypnosis some beautiful little sparkles of glitter in there, ego strengthening, as she calls it. And it's beautiful. I look back sometimes, not even associating that with my own session. And I'm sitting at my computer at work at my desk, and I'm just like knocking out my task, like checking off the box, getting shit done, And I'm like, that's Shari. Wait a minute, because what I noticed was people around me aren't efficient in the same way, or aren't doing it. I just feel like I'm doing so awesome at everything I'm doing. I feel good about the work I'm doing. I'm
Mhm.
completing tasks. I'm energetic, and then you know, I see some of my coworkers like, oh, they're tired, they're worn down, they're not really as productive. And then I'm just like, that's Shari, program me real good. You know?
But I'm amazed at every time I see you, you're just like, you're energetic.
Oh, well, thank
I know,
you.
the woman with 5 jobs. or whatever.
Yes.
But I feel like I accomplish more. I don't know. I do feel like I accomplish more. Some people say, how do I have all the energy? I don't even know, but it's there. It gets done.
Well, I'm finding I'm accomplishing more now that I'm holding up a full-time job and doing the podcast
Yeah,
and
yeah.
other things.
You're a celebrity now, Emily.
Yeah, you
Held to
are.
higher
Yeah.
standards.
How many
Yeah.
episodes now?
This will be the 71st.
Wow.
Wow.
Awesome.
7 and
Wow.
1. Okay.
I mean, I did some podcasts on
Before
another
previous.
Yeah.
YouTube channel.
Yeah,
So I'm probably up to
Got to
about
start somewhere.
yeah, I know.
the 80s.
We're gonna have to
probably.
throw a party when you get to 100.
Oh yeah.
Oh, we
Yes.
will.
Yeah, 100 podcasts.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
But we can
for
all
sure.
dress like 100-year-olds. That's what they do at the school. They have the 100th day, and then all the little kids go to school as old people. Like they dress.
I can come as I are, actually. I'm one of the oldest ones around here, at least in here. I mean, there's a few of us out here that are a little bit grandmotherly, but
Grandmotherly.
No, but nobody recognizes me in the grocery store.
Not yet.
Not yet. Not
Going-
yet.
No.
keep a pen handy on you so you can
Right.
do.
But
autographs.
I did set an intention, and Ben helped me with this too about public speaking and
Oh, yeah.
getting
Yeah, oh, yeah.
realizing having the confidence to speak to a larger audience. So I did my hair, put my makeup on an hour before the show this
Wow,
time
nice.
instead of like while y'all are logging on.
Right.
But
Using the camera as the mirror.
yes, that's usually.
Did you know
I've
that
done that.
Ben also wanted to do podcasts at one time in his life?
Yeah, I've played with the idea of driving so many miles.
You could do an affirmation special
Oh.
on Metaphysical
Oh, yes, you
Mississippi.
could.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
could. Yeah,
Yes.
sure.
You could co-host sometimes. Co-host.
yeah,
We'll
you could
see.
co-host it. He got
Yeah.
a voice.
That would be great. Yeah,
Yes.
he's got the right.
Exactly.
He's got the.
Right.
That's
does.
right.
Or you could just be host. I can take also.
Then you would be the
Communication,
director, or the producer.
The
Would you be
producer.
director or
I'd
the
still-
producer?
I'd probably still
Editing
be-
and all that
Yeah.
I'd
jazz.
probably still be producer.
All right.
Until I relinquish that control.
Ah,
There we go.
we have something that'll help you with it.
Right.
Well, guys, is there anything else y'all want to share?
Thank you,
Oh.
Shari. Thank you so
Thank
much
you,
for
yeah.
teaching us, for allowing us to be under your umbrella. Your first students, I wear that proudly.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I know that so many. I mean, you're one of the greats. I remind you. You talk about the other greats, but you brought hypnosis to this area
Oh,
here
yeah.
to so many people in group sessions through the pandemic, past life regressions, life between lives. Like, we're so blessed to have you, honestly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely.
I'm this has just been the most fun thing, and I'm looking forward. I want to do a lot more teaching, and there is going to be the next class. It's going to be in
Yes.
2024. It's February. I have some tentative dates. I can't release them just yet, but it's going to be primarily Zoom. But I'm going to still have. I did all mine in person, which is why I was going to do my first one in person, which it is done. My teacher does it ever since COVID. Everything's been done on Zoom. But I've done Zoom training too. There's nothing like the face-to-face though. And the relationship that the three of us have,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
well, we're going to be
Right.
lifelong.
So when you say on Zoom, though, is that opening? Is there going to be they call it hybrid? Are you going to have also a gathering together?
Oh
of
yes,
in
I
person
because I'm
of
not
the
ready to give it
students?
up and be. They
Yeah.
gave us some. You always had to do X number of hours in person because even as an industry, we felt like you had to have. You'd say to any hypnotherapist, well, of course you have to be in person. And there was hardly the ones that were out there that said, oh, I could do it on Zoom. They were a bunch of radicals, but now that's more almost the norm. So I'm stepping up and going to do more. And maybe that way we can include people from further away that
Yeah.
can do it
Right. That's
and come, and we'll do at least one long weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. 'Cause that's how the three of us did it. We would do Friday, Saturday, Sundays. It's 110 hours.
4 weekends plus, really.
Yeah, I think we've done 5.
Yeah.
And of course, we were figuring stuff out as we went.
Yeah.
And anyway, so we have it coming, and more training, even for them. I'm going to be offering more training that they can do later in the year if they want to pursue it beyond.
I want to
'cause
help your
there's-
students too.
Oh
I'll go
yeah.
ahead and get my wish list together. I'll be a good person for them, a good model.
Good point.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So, where do each of you see yourselves in 5 years, as far as like in
Oh, wow.
hypnotherapy?
That's a big question, Emily.
Yeah.
That's a big question.
I
I don't have that vision yet. I really feel like I'm at the period of still learning, growing, and is just integrating all that I have learned with hypnotherapy. I would like to, just like my Reiki, psychic mediumship, I like to get to a phase where it becomes part of who I am. It's no longer a tool that I have or something that I practice. It's of who I am as a person. And when I get to that point, I think I'll know more where I want to go with it. But I do want to integrate everything all together and offer services just to be in service of people. My whole journey has been about how do I heal myself on my own journey. And then, in that process, I discovered that I also wanted and had a passion for helping others. So everything I do and learn is to help other people. So that will always be there. I just don't know what it looks like yet. Shari wants to do more serious stuff, so maybe me and Ben will take on some of those referrals from her. That's a plan.
That's what I've been saying. I'm going to refer to them because I've helped a lot of people quit smoking, lose weight, just dealing with stress and anxiety and sleep issues and all kinds of. We just get all kinds. You can't imagine the things people need help with. Anyway, so I do want to because I love teaching, so I will do that. And I'm also certified with the Michael Newton Institute and the Life Between Lives. And I'm getting to participate in research. And they've got 3 books that they're writing the next 3 years and having to do with the evolution of human consciousness and where we are now, where we're going. And we have teams all over the world that are doing sessions. We're all asking the same questions of higher self. And the answers will be in these books. And it's pretty cool stuff. And so I'm getting to, that was my goal all along.
Yeah.
When I first became I was in class learning it, and it's like, wait, I have to help people quit smoking. I was I had like an idea of what I was going to do after reading Life Between Lives. And then the teacher just laughed. He goes, it's going to become your bread and butter. And you are going to actually learn to love this. And I'm like, you say so? Oh my gosh, that changed everything. It really did. And you everything we learn, it doesn't matter if you're doing past life stuff or if you're doing, Newton or what it's all the same stuff.
Yeah.
Just like with the Reiki, just like with shaman, we use all the tools.
Yeah.
So
and
at
I
the end
want
of
to
the
do
day,
group sessions. I want to continue that on too. That's I do see group sessions being a thing on different topics. That's such a powerful way to get a bunch of people together. Let's get one topic of anxiety and how many people could benefit from helping with anxiety today. And if we get a group session of 10, 15, 20 people and we help all those people with anxiety right now, and it's a tool that they walk out and feel good about themselves going forward in their individual lives. That's beautiful.
That is.
Yeah.
That is.
Help folks on a larger scale
Yeah.
as best as we can. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's something I want to do is to, like you were saying, to have it part of your everyday experience where, how you respond and react to things. That's sort of a personal thing, but trying to help other people a little bit on every day, realize you don't really want to, they may say something awful about themselves and they're in the bad habit of doing that. You might, I've done this, I'm in Walmart a lot because of my regular work. Sometimes I will hear somebody just in conversation be like, oh, if I do that, I'll get a headache. And I'll be like, you really probably don't want to put that on yourself that way. You know, you might want to rethink that. You don't necessarily have to get a headache. Or you probably don't just by thinking about it, or saying a certain thing.
Yeah.
But yes, I'm glad my journey so far has helped my kids, which is most important to me, and it's helped me. And like I don't know, 5 years, we'll see.
Yeah,
But
no, that's such a long goal. That
I thought of
5
that.
years.
Yeah, we got to get
Yeah.
a couple of a year or two in the belt first.
Yeah. And I also work with a lot of practitioners too. A lot of them are my friends, and we're such blessed to have such a large community here. I can't
Yeah.
brag about it enough. It's like, sometimes I talk to somebody who's not from here and they're like, they talk about something like hypnotherapy and they're like almost with a shush voice, not the hypnotherapy, And I'm like, well, here we've got psychic and mediums like a dime a dozen. We got Reiki masters galore. It's like such a big community, but to be able to offer each other that level of support that we need in our own healing journeys as we help other people is also important and a passion of mine. So, thinking about women's circles and how can I use, guided meditations or do things to help my friends and support them, that's part of what I'm going to be doing too.
And overall, the hypnosis makes like meditation. Like if it was ever a challenge to us, which it was for most people, a lot of times you ask, "Can you meditate?" and they go, "Or do you?" They go, "Yeah, not really,
Maybe.
very often,
Yeah.
or sometimes." But after you do this, and you go back and forth between in and out of the altered state, meditation is nothing. You can sit
Right.
down, it changes your whole, not just your
Yeah.
focus, but your perception of everything. And we do that with each and every client we work with, and they leave understanding that they can. And so with the practitioners too that are also here,
Yeah.
So anyway, it helps everyone.
Yeah.
Everybody's just so giving. I believe, I don't know if I could be a practitioner because it just seems to be selfless. It's a gifting.
Yeah.
You give to other people. I don't.
You're not confident in that just yet, but you're getting there.
Yeah.
Is that
You're working
something
on
you
it.
want to work
Yeah.
on?
You're working
Yeah.
on you're
Yeah.
just what you're doing right here. What you're doing
Set up
right
that
here
next-
is
Well,
holding
right.
what you're
I'm
doing right here
available
and holding
next
this
week.
space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've doormatted myself a lot, so I think that's why I'm
okay.
a little.
I was the same way, to be quite honest. When I first came into Reiki, that was my first gateway thing.
Yes.
But it was Shari that talked to me in the very beginning. She was like one of the very first people. It was Kristen and Shari because they always work together. And I don't even know if you know this, but I had my first session of Reiki with Alan, knew shit was real then. Then I had my second session with Kristen. She invited me to all the things, Reiki shares, all the Facebook, all the places. And then first Reiki share, you were there. And Shari talks to people, especially people coming in the door, like so great to get her level, And she was telling, all about chakras. I took her chakra balancing class. It was my first class I took. And then she's saying, it's okay to charge. But and I tell people too, it's okay to feel like you need to practice when you're beginning your Reiki journey. But there does come a level of now you're at that master level. You've practiced, you know what you're doing, like you really got it. And then that energy change is important.
And the energy exchange.
Yeah. And I had a client one time that was so adamant about the energy exchange. This was at a Reiki share. So the exchange for me at a Reiki share is a donation to the association.
Right.
And I'm donating my time. But he was like, no, I need you to get on the table. And I did. I checked in and I did. But so that energy change not only is for our benefit, it's for their benefit too, a lot of times. And sometimes people don't know how to even express gratitude on that unconditional love level when they're going through their trauma or just beginning to self-heal. And so sometimes just allowing that energy exchange gives them reprieve too.
Yeah.
Sometimes a thank you is for them just as much as it is for us. And that's what I tell newer practitioners. And, I've had a practitioner tell me, well, no, don't thank me. But that doesn't feel good on the other side of that because that person really wants to express their gratitude. So even giving a donation or a monetary amount feels good to them.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think also if with as far as energy exchange, sometimes too, if they're invested in it in some regard, that brings value to it
Yeah,
also
yeah.
for
I
them
does.
on
just
both
heard about that
ends.
today. Yeah.
And learning to say, a lot of times people will say thank you for something, and you're like, oh, don't worry about it, or it was nothing. Again, those are words; they have power. It was
Yes,
something,
it was.
and it does
Right.
matter. So
Right.
how it's just learning to say you're welcome.
Yeah,
Right.
that was a
It
big
was
part
my
of
I
pleasure.
enjoy doing that.
Yeah.
It was a
Right.
pleasure.
Yeah.
That was a big part of my journey. I literally could not say, "You're welcome." If somebody gave me a compliment, I couldn't even accept compliments. Like accepting was a big part of my journey. That's why I knew
Yes,
when I was
I-
helping you. I was like, "This is also something that I knew for my
Yeah.
own journey." People would give me a compliment. They would say, "Oh, you're so this," and I would say, "No, you are." You know? or you're more than me, or like it was always. I could not even now. For me, when I say thank you to a compliment, I'm recognizing and honoring my own growth.
Wow.
I'm bad about that. I mean, not honoring
Yeah.
I mean, I'm bad about flipping
So-
the, oh, this
Yeah.
whole thing.
Yeah,
I didn't
right.
have
You go down
laundry.
there, but then I was
I
like,
need to do laundry.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
That's a testament to my growth. Thank you. I just say that and
Yes.
sit in it.
Mhm.
Learning to say you're welcome or my
Oh
pleasure.
yeah.
Yeah, learn from Chick-fil-A. When you say thank you to them, what do they say?
My pleasure. And
Right.
I wait for that. I love that they say that.
I know, me too. And I know, I wait. And they
Wait
do
for
it
it.
every time. I don't think
Yeah.
it's ever failed.
They're
They
trained.
really, they're trained really well.
Yeah.
That's a good one though.
I bet they say it to their parents.
Oh,
too.
yeah, at the house. If you got a household
They're like,
with-
my
and their friends.
pleasure.
with four or five people who work for Chick-fil-A in the same family sitting around the
Their
table.
friends, they say it.
Thank you.
Because
My
they get it. It's
pleasure.
programmed.
Right.
Well, on that note, thank y'all for coming.
Yeah.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah.
And being
Thank
on the
you.
show.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thanks for holding the space.
Adios.
The views expressed by guests are their own, and their appearance on the program does not imply an endorsement of them or any entity they represent.